Hello everybody, I hope you are doing well. God willing, today we are going to answer a question that I received from my previous classes that I've been doing in Spanish. And previously, to summarize to you a little bit, the classes that I was giving were more about the idea of God being the essence in our life, that we shouldn't just serve him because he is good for me, because I want to stay away from punishments and I want to be close to rewards, because at the end I'm going to become a person that the only thing that cares about it's me. But rather that God himself needs us for him to fulfill the purpose that he created this world for. So this concept, which are mind-boggling, because usually many people from many religions and even Jews themselves, the way that they have to approach to God and the idea that we might have of God is that he's this big wonderful king up there watching and catching to see when he's gonna see you doing some trouble and just strike you with a stick, or rather to see when you're gonna behave and throw you many candies. And obviously, having that idea from God is really hard. It's really hard to sustain. It's really hard to connect with him, because it's literally like, when you're in a country that you feel that the president is kind of a dictator, and he's telling you exactly what you should do, what you shouldn't do, and then you just behave because of anything may happen to you, whether it's good or bad. But you couldn't care less about the president. The same thing with God. When we serve God in that way, we couldn't really care less about God himself. And many questions rise up from that. And the questions that were asked about the topic was obviously people was really, mind-boggled about the idea of God being a being that needs us, that he wants to be close to us. And we were elaborating into that and everything else. But now I got a question that is a very amazing question, and I would like to share with you because I think it's very meaningful. And it's also giving us an idea and a good perspective about God and about our mission in this world. So the question I was asked is about a lady that she says that she's fascinated with all these concepts of God. These concepts are something that she never heard before, but she's still struggling, trying to understand if God cares about things in her, daily life. Like, for example, her relationship, her marriage. She claims to be in a marriage that is a little bit hard, that she's having a lot of troubles with her husband, trying to get him to do what she needs, what she requires, what she requests from him. And she had read in media, since, psychologists and this and that it's always been said about women, we just don't know how to say things straight. We always have to work in circles. When we say, yes, I'm okay, that means, I'm gonna kill you if you do otherwise. When we say, how are you, honey? Oh, everything is amazing. That means that, oh boy, what did I do? So these poor guys are just going crazy. So she said, I don't want to be this kind of woman. I really want to tell my husband straight out what I want, what I need. And I tell him, I need this, without playing games. And yet I don't see results. And I'm very disturbed by the fact that I want to know if there's answers for me to make my marriage better. And my wonder is, she says, if the Torah, this text that you claim to be godly and the blueprint of the world, has an answer that could help me to deal with this issue. Now, this is an amazing question and a fantastic way of understanding that, yes, God is not only there in heaven and here we're trying to make, get through life with super God on charge and see that we don't make him upset. Otherwise, he's going to be, there ready to hit us. But rather, God cares about every single aspect of our life. And of course, there is answers about how to deal with these kind of things in the Torah. Obviously, this question was asked in a very general fashion, which obviously I don't know further details of the situation. But one thing I could say in general, right? Obviously, we'll have to evaluate every situation one by one, person by person. It's very important that when you are answering somebody, also you have to make sure that you're answering the person. You're not answering the question, because you have to see who's asking you this question, where this person is coming from, and so on and so forth. Nonetheless, I would like to give a general answer just for us to understand that yes, God cares about every single matter in our life. The ones that we call the big ones, the one that stress us out, the one that drive us crazy, and the ones that are so insignificant that sometimes even it doesn't even bother us, but it might bother God. It might hurt him. When sometimes we are in patterns of, self-destruction, when we don't value ourselves, when we diminish ourselves, when we are so strong and harmful to our own self without even realizing. We just think we're so righteous. I need to be hard on myself. I need to tell myself, this is right, this is wrong, and I'm so bad when I do this, and so on and so forth. That's devastating for God. Because God created you. You are his creation. And God is inside of us. But we always tend, and this happened to all of us, we think it's like a holy thing to be so tough on ourselves. I'm being righteous. Or sometimes we have like a psychological pattern that we say, okay, well, let me at least be tough on myself before somebody else comes and is tough on me. At least I know how mean can I be to myself, and I know how to handle myself, right? So one thing is being missing in this world a lot is the roles that a woman and a man plays as a couple. We are in a world that we were trying to be convinced that men and women are exactly the same. In fact, all the feminist movement, what it caused was tremendous pain and damage. Even though when the feminist movement started from a valid point, which was that a man performs the same work that a woman does in the same time, with the same efficiency, everything, but nonetheless, the man is being paid more than the women. Why is that fair? If you are hiring me for my work and I'm giving you the results, why are you discriminating between genders? So that was a very valid point. That's absolutely right. Nonetheless, something that starts from this, that is valid and is true, and it was right, developed into such a painful philosophy, which women basically start becoming men to prove a point that we are better than men, and I'm just a woman trying to be a man, and that makes me better than a man. So what is my quality that they don't have that I do have? What is my extra? What is the cherry on my ice cream? And so many women are being affected by this idea, which had become and make women men-like. Meaning, it doesn't mean that a woman is going to start dressing like a man, and acting like a man. No. I'm talking about, I'm a tough stone. Nobody can ever tell me what to do. Nobody will ever hurt me because I'm going to be so strong with this and I'm going to be so this. And I just become desensitized with my own essence. Women, we were given one of the greatest gifts in the world. We were given the capacity of bringing life to the world. In fact, only God has that quality in us. So, not only that you can bring life to the world, but you can nurture this life. Meaning, literally, you keep a baby is being alive because you're nurturing him. You're feeding this baby from your own being. Of course, there are exceptions of women that cannot do that, so on and so forth, but naturally, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way the body is supposed to work. And who created that? God himself. Not only that, then that baby is going to become a man. then that baby is going to become a woman. It's going to be somebody that's going to impact the society. And we might say, oh, really? But one person, nowadays, to be a mom is the most boring job. To be a wife is like, really, you're such a loser. That's it. You're not a girl anymore. To be a husband, I don't want to even mention how bad it is, right? But, people individually had made changes in history dramatically. If you look in the Torah, Abraham was just one man. Moses was just one man. Albert Einstein was just one man. People that had contributed to the world tremendous and amazing things were just a man. On the other hand, Adolf Hitler in Marshmallow was just a man. And how much damage he created to the world. Right? Stalin was just a man. So what we are creating, don't give it for granted. You don't know what that life that you are investing your life in is going to end up in. And of course, parents, the father also is extremely important. But the nurturing that a mother can give, nobody else can give. And we're talking obviously in healthy cases. Healthy mothers that love their child in a real, sincere way. Obviously, there are cases, unfortunately, where people are not healthy, where people have issues, and unfortunately, they abuse their child. They could be even, and there are horrendous things to their children, whether psychologically, physically, or emotionally. So, the woman by nature is a nurturing being. It's a receptacle, The way we are created is that we are meant to receive from an energy. Who gives us energy? The man. The man is supposed to be the provider, supposed to be the one taking care. And if you really are sincere and you see the times that you're being hurt by your spouse, the times that you feel really broken, is when you feel that you're not being taken care of. Is when you feel that your husband doesn't have you like the only thing in his life. It's when you feel that he's not being there to completely take care of you, because it's not like a little bit. We need to feel safe and we need to be taken care of. And a husband likes to do that. A husband likes to provide to his wife. Again, we're talking about healthy marriage. We're talking about a healthy husband and a healthy wife that love each other, yet they're human beings. They can make mistakes. They can argue. That's perfectly fine, and that's meant to be. But yet, there is a common goal between them, and there is a tremendous, completely care for each other. So, an endless care for each other. So, we as women have to be loyal to that feeling. It's not the end of the world if you start being more vulnerable to your husband, if he's a healthy man, once again, right? Even though he makes you upset, and if you realize when your husband doesn't come at home on time, right? When he doesn't do something that you were expecting him to do, you are mad at him, not because he's so non-capable, because he's so stupid, because whatever you want to think of. What is killing you inside is that you need him so much and he's not there. But how do we express it? You're so irresponsible, your mother didn't raise you well, you're really so bad, right? Instead of saying, I was so hurt because I really wanted you to be here with me earlier and spend a time together. And rather, that didn't happen, right? And you see actually many cases that, the husband knows he's coming late and he runs to get flowers or chocolates or this, and he comes home all happy, But obviously to take the flowers and the chocolate takes him another extra hour, and you're already on fire in your house. As soon as this man opens up the door and comes in, you're like, boom! That's it. The monster came out. So It's really interesting to see and be honest with what we need and what we want. Another thing that women we have a lot is because we're a nurturing being, we're always right. And it's not because we have such a big ego. It's because we were created with this nature of nurturing, of telling people, telling children, right, what to do, how to be, I'll teach you the best. Not because I think I'm better than you. It's because I love you so much that I want to protect you in my, little crystal ball. Nothing happens to you. And what is one of the most common issues that happen in marriage? My husband becomes my baby. That's really sad, but it happens so many times. And it's really mixing up so many marriages. It's really ruining the relationship in so many marriages. So we as women have to make a hard work. And I'm talking to women now because this question was raised by a woman. And of course, the men also have to do their part. To do harmony should be both ways. But you women, you only can work in what you can work. And your husband can work in what he can work. He cannot change you, you cannot change him. Right? So one thing we should start thinking or rethinking is start asking yourself, I'm really showing that I'm strong when I just cover up my feelings? I'm really showing that I am such an amazing woman, independent, strong woman, when I'm not honest with my husband and tell him what is really bothering me? Do I think that he's gonna make fun of me? Do I think that he's gonna think I'm a needy person? That I'm a low-life person? And by the way, if that happens, that's a huge sign that this is not a healthy marriage. And this is not a healthy person. If your husband make fun of you because you're being vulnerable, if you literally you tell him how do you feel about certain things and you open up and he just laugh at you, listen, this is not healthy. This should be treated with further help because obviously that's not the natural emotion. A healthy husband can stand to see his wife suffering because of him. But if what he sees when he comes home is this monster already ready to to go to war and just pointing out how bad you are, obviously men hate criticism. That's one of the things that they hate the most. And guess what? That's one of the things that we as women do the most. So the point here is don't feel alone. That happens to me as well. It's a journey that all women we have to do. And I know this concept in my brain, as Judaism says, you have to Chochma Bina Das, meaning that really reach my heart and touch and me start thinking that way. Obviously, we reinforce our thoughts when we do things one and over and over again. And when we see, I tried this and it worked. I tried this and it worked. And it doesn't mean this is not a manipulation system. It's just to be true to your nature and to be true to your role. And when we're truthful to our nature and our role as a woman, as a Jewish woman, and as a B'nai Noach woman, as a non-Jewish woman that also have to follow God's commandments. So then we're really fulfilling our purpose in the world, even if it's hard. It's not going to be easy to change your way of thinking. And maybe sometimes it's not going to work right away. He also is in a journey. He also has insecurities. He also has feelings. He also was raised in a society that the macho man, you are a man that you're not allowed to say, how do you feel? Because you know what? You know why? That's not what a man does. Men don't cry. Whoever cries, I might be thinking something suspicious about you. Not only that, God created a man, with the quality of speaking. He just gave him one. And women, we got 9. That's why we always need to talk and express how we feel. Something happens to us, we need to tell it to 20 people in the day to tell them what happened, and that's how we feel, we're being relieved. A man, he had a crazy day at work, and then he comes home and you ask him, honey, how was your day? And he says, it was so hard, my day. I just went through it. I just want to come home, forget about it, and you want me to talk about it again. Men don't relieve through speaking. They always feel that they can work things out in themselves. Again, Every rule has an exception. You might find men that they like to talk, they like to, usually there are men that have more feminine qualities, and that's fine. That's the way Hashem created them. And also there are women that have more masculine qualities, and they're going to be maybe more reserved. They want to figure things out themselves. But we have to understand that it's not only about the men and the women as a physical, but the energies that we have, right? Obviously in a woman, feminine qualities should be more predominant, and in the men, more masculine qualities should be more predominant. But the point is, that's the way it works. And that's what the Torah is telling us. And we have to acknowledge that the best things in life come through work, but with objectivity, with having a purpose, with having a goal set. And when we have that clear, there's nothing in our way that can stop us. And obviously, why we have to bring God to the picture, that was also part of the question. Because with God, we know what is our meaning in life. With God, we know what's right and what's wrong. Human society had changed through many, many years. Whatever was not acceptable at all a couple years ago, today had become the norm. And not only that, if you don't accept that, you are sick, you might have an issue, you might have a problem. Morality, when it's held by a man, is going to change under the circumstances that he is at. Right? I'm going to change. Today I feel that this is proper and moral. Tomorrow I feel, no, this is horrible. The next day you say, you know what, let me rethink. I think it's okay. God is eternal. God taught us what is right and what is wrong. And this is not for us to be judging other people and telling them, listen, you're doing something wrong, you're doing something right. It's for us. It's for us to live our life in the way that God wants, to live up to the standards of morality, of the word that God wants. And also when somebody else wants to know, or like now, we're putting out this information. You have the choice to turn off this video and say, whatever, I don't want to make my life crazy with this. Or you have the choice to say, oh my goodness, I didn't have this piece of information. Or I had it, but I never thought about it deeply. And one thing we should do every day is meditate. Take 15 minutes of your time to think about God, to think about you in this world, to think about the whole purpose. Today there's so many science that explains about how the brain works, and how can we, in order that we want to do many things, we have to access our brain first in order that things change emotionally. That's a Jewish concept. Yeah? Moshe Delalev, the brain controls rules over the heart. And the brain is the one who creates the excitement in the heart. Before you have an emotion, you have to have a thought process. So now the science is coming to say, oh, look what we just discovered, a couple years ago. And it's fantastic. And if you have the opportunity to look through it, I really recommend it. It's really good. But what they're missing is the fact that it's all about me. I have to be great. I have to have an incredible life. I have to live by myself, which is amazing. And we all should work. But don't forget your purpose. Your purpose is give to the world. Your purpose is, okay, I'm building up in myself in order I should give to the world. In order I should make my best version of me in the world to impact the world in a positive way. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll continue next week, God willing. Have all of you a wonderful day. Wow.